was Cam Newton, and he was released by the Patriots. Shocker, I know. Mac Jones is going to be the starter now. Brian Hoyer will be his backup. Jarrett Stidham is injured, so that is going to be the QB room for the Patriots is Mac Jones and Brian Hoyer. I guess they just don't care about Cam anymore. The reports is that pretty much they're mad about the COVID situation, the fact that Cam isn't vaccinated, the fact that he had to deal with missing practice due to protocols, and Belichick decided, you know what, screw it. We're cutting him now. We don't even want to worry about him. So the Patriots nobody really saw this coming. I think people were beginning to think maybe Mac would be the starter, but nobody really thought Cam wasn't going to be on the roster. Now he's out of the team, and I think Mac Jones, he's not going to be very good. At least not at the start. Watching him in college, he was not as good as some of these other rookie quarterbacks were in college. He was certainly worse than Lawrence and Fields. And obviously Mac Jones ended up becoming a Heisman candidate, but he was on Alabama, and now traditionally Alabama quarterbacks don't do as well in the NFL because of how good they do in their school. Not just quarterbacks, Alabama players in general don't do as well in the NFL because of how good they are in college. All their potential's already been untapped. Whereas some of these other random guys still have so much untapped potential left, but Nick Saban really taps all the potential away. So what you are at Alabama is what you will be in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying Mac Jones is going to fail, but I really think that this can pretty much, for me at least, this eliminates the Patriots as playoff contenders. I think they're probably, at this point, just an average roster with an average team and a good coach and a below-average quarterback for now. Now, 3 years from now, maybe Mac Jones is one of the best QBs in the NFL. Who knows? He did do very well at practice. He was impressing everyone. Apparently, he is the most mature of all of the rookie quarterbacks. He's very smart. So that's what the reports are saying. Who knows, though? It's possible that Mac Jones could end up just being really bad. It's possible he could become the next Tom Brady. At this point, you never know with New England. New England, by the way, Stephon Gilmore's out for 7 weeks, so he will not be returning until mid-October. That's going to certainly hurt their defense. Not as bad as it would have been a couple of years ago, though. Stephon Gilmore's not that good anymore. But it does, obviously, every injury makes an impact to your team. So that is probably something to worry about. Probably not that much to worry about. But I do think it's something there and then maybe the Patriots will go out and get another cornerback. I don't know. But at this point, Stephon Gilmore's not the greatest player anyway, so it probably doesn't matter all too much. But yeah, Cam Newton off the team. I wonder where Cam's going to end up. Supposedly Dallas is considering signing him. Dallas released both Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert. So right now they have just 2 quarterbacks on the roster, Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush. So those are the 2 guys in New England. Cam Newton could go there. I don't really think he fits the system all that well in Dallas. But he is certainly better than Cooper Rush. And like I said a couple days ago on the show, Dallas needs a backup. They need somebody to come fill in. So maybe that could be where Cam Newton goes. I would be rooting for him to go to Baltimore. By the way, Baltimore released Trace McSorley as well. So now both of the meme quarterbacks from last year, McSorley and DiNucci, are both no longer on teams. Which I think is pretty hilarious. So many people just hyping those guys up because they were on TikTok memes, but not anymore. So McSorley, he's done, and maybe the Ravens could potentially target Cam Newton. I think he would be the perfect backup for Lamar. Obviously, you need when you're a running quarterback, you need to have a decent backup because things happen. Injuries happen. Guys come out. Lamar missed. I think there's one game last year against the Browns where they had to pull him for like a couple of drives because he tweaked his knee or something, and then he came right back in and led him to the win. But anything can really happen in the NFL, and so I think, considering how similar Cam and Lamar are as players, Lamar led the league in rushing touchdowns in 2019. Cam led the league in rushing touchdowns in 2020. Quarterbacks, not running backs, but quarterbacks. So I think that Cam should go to Baltimore and be the backup there. That is if he will settle for a backup job. If he wants to be a starter, I really don't see many options for him. I thought maybe Washington could be a possibility because he knows the coach, Ron Rivera, obviously. And I do think he's better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. Not much better, but he is certainly a little bit better than Ryan Fitzpatrick. But Ron Rivera kind of shot that one down. So, I mean, it seems to me like Ron Rivera has moved on from Cam, and he doesn't want to be coaching Cam anymore. The Texans, this other place, because if Deshaun Watson doesn't end up playing this year, they could look to upgrade from Tyrod Taylor to Cam. Honestly, I kind of hope that doesn't happen. I would feel so bad for Tyrod Taylor if that I mean, Taylor's already been benched 3 times in his career. For them to then go give him all the first-team reps in the preseason and then all of a sudden come week 1 say, oh, sorry, we're signing Cam Newton, you're out. Like, no, I wouldn't like that, and I would feel very bad for Tyrod because I do think that Tyrod's capable of starting and actually winning games. He was 1-0 last year. He won a game with the Browns. Or no, he tied a game with the Browns, and he was a winning quarterback in Buffalo until they benched him for Nathan Peterman, which was, one of the worst decisions in Buffalo Bills history. Unfortunately, they moved away from Tyrod and moved to Nathan Peterman. It did not work out. Then there was I think Tyrod, I'm pretty sure he got injured in the playoff game, but you can't really help that. And then they decided, yeah, we're going to go with Peterman next year, but obviously Peterman lasted a full quarter until they moved back to Allen. So anyways, back to the point though. I don't want Cam to go to the Texans, and I don't think he will, honestly. The Ravens is where I'm rooting for him to go. The Cowboys potentially could sign him. Washington probably not. Where else could Cam go? Maybe I was thinking the Panthers. The Panthers, his old team, obviously. They have Sam Darnold. I think Cam is better than Sam Darnold. I would actually place him quite ahead of Sam Darnold. I think Cam is a borderline top 20 quarterback still in the NFL. Sam Darnold is maybe in the top 30. I don't know. I don't even think I can put him in my top 30. So I think that potentially maybe the Panthers could go back to Cam. That would look kind of silly, though. They could also bring him in as a backup. Maybe they want a veteran presence there. I don't know. Another team that could use a veteran backup, I think a lot, is the Jets, because right now the Jets' backups are Mike White and Mike White and James Morgan, and so those two guys neither of them have played at all in the NFL. So I do think that the Jets maybe they would be interested in looking into getting somebody with some NFL experience. How about a former MVP? He'd be pretty nice. But again, that's only if Cam wants to be a backup, because I highly doubt the Jets would sign Cam to be their starter. I think they do want Zach Wilson as their starter. So honestly, those are kind of the only options I came up with. I really don't know where Cam could end up going in the NFL. I mean, thinking logically, those are pretty much the only spots I can think of. So maybe he wants to go in division, go to the Jets, be a backup there. Maybe he can possibly go back up somebody on Carolina. He can maybe be a starter for Washington, but I think Ron Rivera's already shot that one down. Or he could go back up in Dallas. He could go back up in Baltimore, or he could try to go to the Texans. I don't think there's any other teams at this point that would want him. Maybe the Jaguars could bring him in to help Trevor, but I think that would just be cause too much confusion. So yeah, probably not. So yeah, it's unfortunate for Cam. I like Cam Newton a lot. I think he's a great player, and I do wish that he was a starter still, because I like him. I like his personality. I think he's a great personality. Unfortunately, he should have got the COVID vaccine, I guess, because that seems to be his downfall. As far as Mac Jones go, I think, yeah, like I said, I think he's going to be decent. I think he can be okay. I think he'll probably... I think he's not going to be as good as Herbert was last year. Maybe he'll be close to what Burrow was. I feel like Jones is probably going to have a first season similar to Baker. Like, I think he'll win some games, and I think he'll make some terrible mistakes and lose some games. So I'm interested to see what happens. But he'd certainly... I like that he's not going to be much of a distraction for the Patriots, because I do think he fits the Patriots system a lot. Like, he's just going to go in, do his thing, play, and if he sucks, it's not going to be very hard, I don't think, for them to just move on from him next year again. But they really do intend for him to be the guy this year, and so hopefully it goes well. I do like the Patriots. They're probably a top 10 favorite team of mine, so I do root for them to have some success. But at this point, I've removed them from my playoff contention, and that's pretty much it for the Patriots for now. We won't spend too much time for them. A little bit more news in the NFL. The Saints, they have announced that they are not going to be playing in New Orleans for at least the first month.